Hey guys, Doc here. I'm kind of excited and I'm kind of sad at the same time. So let's handle the sadness first so that we can get the heavy stuff out of the way. I just saw a few minutes ago on Facebook that Michael Zully passed away. Michael was an excellent artist and, by all accounts, an excellent human being. Michael drew Swamp Thing. He drew the Rick Vetch issue of Swamp Thing that was never published. I actually have a photocopy of those pencils that I bought off eBay probably 20 years ago. He drew the last arc in Neil Gaiman's Sandman, and he drew a ton of other different things over the years. An excellent artist and an excellent human being gone too soon. He passed away 2 days ago. All right, the good news is, that out of the way, today is the 6th month that I've been doing these videos. I've been doing them all the way since January of 2024. We had a snowstorm here in Memphis and kind of got snowed in. I was in between jobs, and I decided that I would start a YouTube channel. Just like all YouTube channels, it began rather humbly. Never really, it took it a minute to get off the ground. But I now have 95 people riding with me each and every video. So thank you guys for the support. I really am happy that you're here. Let's push it on forward to 100 subscribers, and let's start this video in earnest. So today I picked up, there's a little bit of stack, and the first book that I got was Morning Star by Andrew Daniel with art by Finnegan. And Morning Star was the story of a family. And the father was a firefighter with the National Park Service. And he ended up dying in a fiery blaze along with a bunch of his co-workers. And his family goes a year later to that same park to spread his ashes and kind of get past what has happened. And as they're trying to get past it, they start seeing strange images like their father, this lady's husband. And you're trying to figure out, it seems like there's some metaphysical things going on here. As well as, oh, by the way, guys, this is our new kitty, Percy. Hi, Percy. Say hi to the people on YouTube. Oh, get down, Lovey. I got to talk about my video. Come on, let's get down. Let's get down, okay? There we go. There you go. So anyway, to talk about Morning Star, this is really this family dealing with grief and the loss of a husband, the loss of a father, the loss of somebody that they knew and that they loved, somebody that was very important to them. The artwork in the series has got a really retro type of feel to it. As you can see, it's almost, I would almost dare say pop art. Something like that image right there would almost to me be as iconic as the Andy Warhol images or things of that nature. So it's been really interesting to see this family go through refinding their father, refinding their husband, the life lessons that their father can teach them even though he's no longer there. This is his daughter, and she had gotten upset. And he explained, and he said, not everything can be, not everything can be fixed. But why cry over a doll? And it wasn't, was this other person really crying over a doll in the first place, or was it something bigger? And so it's really just an exploration of grief and how to move on past loss. And the fact that those people that we love will always be in our hearts. They'll never be forgotten about. Just like the experiences that you get when you read the artwork of Michael Zully, or somebody that equally interesting to you, equally important to you. That person may have moved on past this plane of existence, but that's not the end of their story. I did a video a little while ago talking about John Paul Leon and his artwork on Batman Creature of the Night with Kurt Busiek. And it's kind of the same thing. Even though John Paul is gone, a victim of cancer, You can read that story and get something beautiful out of it. You can enjoy his artwork. You can go back and reread Earth X, or you can reread some of his milestone stuff that he was doing with DC back in the early 90s. So it's almost a meta-type book in that sense, that you would lose, or at least myself would lose a creator that I really enjoyed his work, on the same day that you get a book that helps you deal with grief and the passage of time and the lessons that you can take away from the people that you've lost. This one I'm saving for a greatest hits, or maybe possibly another video. I haven't had a chance to really dig into it yet, but it's from the DC Vault, Death in the Family, Robin Lives. And it's a imagining of if that 1-900 number that was set up during the 1980s. Imagine that Jason Todd had actually lived rather than died at the hands of the Joker. And unfortunately, Jim Aparo has passed on, but Rick Leonardi is an excellent, excellent artist, and I can't wait to dig into this. So it's written by J.M. DeMatteis with art by Rick Leonardi. Beyond Real issue 5. I flipped through this. I haven't really taken the time. I've had a lot of stuff going on outside of comics today. We're trying to move into a new house. Had to work on the yard. Had to work on the house. So unfortunately, it's going to be a little bit less detailed this week. If I get a chance to go back through these and reread them and find anything of extreme importance, I will definitely come back and do another video. But I've enjoyed this series. It's also a book that is more than meets the eye when you first see it. Come on, Percy. Come on, baby. This talks about Eli and his fiancée. And in the first issue, they get into an automobile accident. And she wakes up and he doesn't. He stays in a coma. But she wants to go and find him because she knows that he's not brain dead. He's still alive. But she knows that she doesn't know how to get to him. And all of a sudden she gets sucked into almost like a Matrix type of world. And she's supposed to speak to the Creator. And only by speaking to the Creator can she find a way to bring him home. And this series has a really interesting premise, but more importantly, it's got a great conclusion. And I'm not going to spoil it here, but I'll say that she does bring him home. And that it is a beautiful reunion, a very heartfelt and well thought out reunion, and one that defies even the passage of time. So if you haven't read this storyline, you should probably wait for the trade now, because this is the 5th and final issue of this. But it is one of the most heartfelt stories that I've read in quite some time. And if you like bombastically wild colored artwork, this is also a book for you. Then you get into some pages that are in black and white. So you get a little bit of both worlds. But as you go here, you just see colors just exploding off of the page. So if you guys didn't get a chance to check that out as well. That's really psychological and visceral, and it hits you in the feels. Makes you feel a certain way about these books. And if you've been reading a long time like I have, then you get these connections to these characters. And they are almost real to you if the writer has the correct soup, we'll call it, of characterization, likability, and a story that you can get behind. And this one had all three of them. They checked all three boxes for me. All right, moving on, we've got something that's not quite so cerebral, but is a lot of fun, and that is Green Lantern number 13. We have Hal Jordan trapped by Amanda Waller and being tortured, and this all ties into absolute power. All of the heroes are getting their powers taken away from them by Amanda Waller, and Jordan has lost his ring, But at the end of it, at the very end of the issue, you get a surprise that makes Jordan smile. This title has really been a love letter to the character of Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, just like, and I didn't read it because I'm not a Flash fan, but they said Jeremy Adams' run on The Flash was also very, very strong characterization for that character. And that can't be overstated these days. It seems like there's a lot of characters that get into comics that really don't have any background in comics. They don't really, I don't know. It's not that they don't love comics. It's just like another paycheck. And so they build a world, but they don't really flesh it out. They build a story, but they don't really bring characters to life. But Jeremy Adams is doing exactly that on this book. And as you can see, you've got Pasarin on the artwork, so it's a little bit different than what you're used to with Xermanico. Almost reminds me a little bit of Mike McCone and Mark McKenna back in the 90s. But it's really well done, and it's awesome to see Alan Scott, because that's a character that you don't always see anymore. Alan was the original Green Lantern, and now he's powered by the Starheart, but he goes by the name Sentinel, and has now reverted to going back to Green Lantern again. And now we've got some heroes fighting a version of Amazo. And you have Lord Theros, who thinks that he's doing good, but only time will tell. He's trying to bring all of the emotional spectrum together in unison, because he feels like the Guardians were weak and they didn't use their power properly to govern the universe. Their ideals were small, in his opinion, but he feels like he knows the way to unify not only one universe, but all universes, and bring everybody together in peace and unity. We shall see. We shall see, because he's not bringing a message of peace and unity in order to do this. All right, guys. We also have Transformers issue number 10 by Daniel Warren Johnson, Jorge Corona, and Mike Spicer. This shows Beachcomber. You also get some of the jets, because Skywarp has been captured by the Autobots, and Thundercracker wants to go after him. And unfortunately, he's told, hey, Soundwave, who is now one of the leaders of the Decepticons, reminds him and says, you belong to me. So you do what I tell you to do, and that's how you're going to survive in this battle. Look at the colors on this thing, man. Mike Spicer just outdid himself, and Jorge Corona outdid himself with the artwork. It's the best of all the Energon books, in my opinion. Absolutely the best. Daniel Warren Johnson is telling one hell of a story. So if you guys are any kind of Transformer fans and you haven't been picking this up, you've got to pick this up and start picking it up either in individual books or trades. Okay? 2 more books to go, guys. I picked up the second issue of Falling in Love on the Path to Hell. Our characters now are trying to figure out where they came from. It's McCraith, and you've got this guy here, Mohan, who is supposed to be their guide and is going to try to help them get through all of the traps and things of that nature. And Asami is the other main character here, and she's a samurai warrior princess. And so these two have come from totally different backgrounds, but now they are walking the same path. And this story is just telling how you can come from 2 different cultures, and yet you can learn from one another, you can grow with one another, and if you can learn to accept others for their differences, then you can learn to fight together rather than falter and be destroyed. So I can't wait to check out the third issue when that comes out. That's got very solid artwork by Gary Brown, and Jerry Duggan is the writer. So, like I said, that one comes with high praise. All right. We are almost to the end of Zeb Wells' run on Amazing Spider-Man. This book was actually palatable. We still have Peter Parker in and out of the Spider-Goblin persona that Norman Osborn gave him. But it's really, really interesting how things have worked out. Because Peter's been trying to fight Norman this whole time. He managed to just destroy the Sinister Six. Or, what was the remains of the Sinister Six. And they just didn't even put up a fight. They couldn't handle the Spider-Goblin. It was just too much. Because they didn't know. They know how to fight Peter. They know how to fight Spider-Man. And they would know how to fight the Green Goblin. But when you mix those two with the different power sets, you get a totally different character than what you're used to fighting, and so they were taken unaware. This has got art by Todd Nauck and Ed McGuinness, and if this particular storyline finishes up, here you go, you got Miss Marvel, Wreck Rap, Living Brain, Kurt Connors, and meanwhile Spider-Man is fighting the feelings of the Goblin that are inside of him, the sins of the Green Goblin that are inside of him. So it's coming to a climax. We're going to see how things end up. There's Wreck Rap and his goofy self. But we're going to see how things end up. Hopefully it will end up positively. And we can move on to the Joe Kelly stuff here in a few months. And then we'll see what role John Romita Jr. plays in this title after that. All right, guys. That is my haul. That is what I picked up today. Hopefully you guys got to get to the shop and pick up your own books. If you did, what are you reading? What are you enjoying? Did you pick up any of the same books that I'm reading? I'm trying to branch out, trying to read more than just superhero stuff. A lot of the independent books have really gotten my attention because, like I said before, they're built on characterization. It's kind of like substance over style, okay? If you go to a restaurant and you eat something and it's absolutely terrible, but it's a hamburger and you love hamburgers, you don't want the greatest, you don't need, I guess what I'm trying to say, you don't need somebody to reinvent the hamburger. You just want a great hamburger. That's all you're trying to do. Here, the independent books seem to be making better hamburgers than what McDonald's, aka Marvel and DC, is putting out at the moment. So, if you're like me, then vote with your wallet. If you're really not enjoying a title, drop it. I'm a really big fan of Something is Killing the Children by Boom, but when they brought out The House of Slaughter, I read the first 5 issues and dropped it. I just couldn't get behind it. Now, I've been told by other people that it picked up with issue 6 and I missed out on the boat, but that's okay. I can't afford to buy everything. I can't afford to follow everything mentally. Like I said, my wife and I have got a whole bunch going on with one old house, one new house, and things of that nature. So, but anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, if you have not liked and subscribed, please do so, and we will catch you in another video here very soon. Take care and have a great night.